Our black rooster is the pride of the whole village. Everyone in the village knows it. That rooster is absolutely off limits to eat. But my sister-in-law couldn't sleep at night. She was dead set on having fried chicken. I tried to talk her out of it, but she pointed at my nose and yelled at me. I gave your family a kid. I'm stuck in this crappy village. So what if I eat a lousy chicken? My mom loved that rooster like treasure. But this time, she wasn't mad at all. She just gave me a sharp glare and stared hard at my sister-in-law's belly. You don't know a thing. Go ahead, eat it. What is in that belly is the real treasure. My mom is a widow, but she is highly respected in the village. Because our village loves chickens, and we happen to have the best black rooster in town. The rooster moo moo, tall and proud. Every black feather shimmers, with rainbow colors. As far as I can remember, my mom treasured that rooster like crazy. I did most of the chores at home, but my mom never fed the rooster. Your hands are dirty, your luck is low. This rooster isn't something a wild duck like you can touch. I'm telling you, stay far away from the black rooster. If I catch you getting close, I'll break your arms and legs for sure, and throw you into the mountains for the wolves. When my mom said those things, she always looked fierce. I got beaten a lot growing up, so I knew my mom wasn't just bluffing. When I got a little older, I stopped going near that black rooster on my own, because I realized that rooster was terrifying. It is completely pitch black. Under its sharp beak, 2 hanging black wattles stretch down to its neck. Its yellowish-brown eyes keep darting around, always like it is staring at me. The scariest part is the black rooster's feet. They're way thicker than other roosters, covered in bumpy, different-sized, dense scales like warts. For some reason, every time I lock eyes with that rooster, I get goosebumps and feel super uncomfortable. Life was pretty normal, until that day my brother brought home a loud and flashy woman. This is Xiu. We're back to get married. My mom looked my sister-in-law up and down with a mean nasty look. But her expression changed when she heard my sister-in-law was pregnant. Her rough crying like hand rubbed my sister-in-law's belly. Her eyes flickered with light. Good, having a kid is good. This scene should have been heartwarming, but for some reason, it gave me goosebumps. I knew my mom wasn't happy about having a grandkid. My sister-in-law was from the city. Getting pregnant with my brother's kid was an accident. I heard her dad is strict. He kicked her out in anger. So that is why she came to our place. My brother and I have always been close growing up. So, I secretly told my sister-in-law, next time my brother goes out for work, she could leave with him. Maybe because I was too afraid to say it clearly. She thought I was targeting her. She looked at me with pure contempt, being pushed aside by her sister-in-law, before even stepping through the door. You think I'm like you village girls who just take it? No way. Not long after, my sister-in-law's mom moved in too. She was short and chubby, with bright red lipstick smeared on, just like her daughter. She walked in with her nose in the air. My sister-in-law demanded I clean out my room and sleep in the woodshed instead. When I refused, her mom grabbed my ear and twisted it hard. You lousy countryside. I'm already being generous moving in here. What is wrong with picking a decent room? So petty. To be honest, I don't even want to live in that crappy room of yours. It is all for my daughter. Whenever that happened, my mom just smiled. You're right, in-laws. Let her have her way. My sister-in-law's mom was no fool. Taking care of her daughter meant letting her walk all over me. She was even harsher than my mom. She'd crack sunflower seeds and spit the shells on the floor. You stupid girl. All dark, ugly, and hideous. Like a black donkey turd. Ha, I doubt anyone will even marry you. Even beating a dog, you gotta check who owns it. My mom was known in the village for being eccentric and sharp-tongued. Plus, she kept a black rooster, so nobody dared talk back to her. But with my sister-in-law and her mom, she didn't complain, even once. If Xiaomei does anything wrong, just let me know. I'll handle her. Just treat him like a dog. Use him however you want. My face was burning. I was so humiliated by my mom's scolding, but besides that, I was also scared of how strange my mom was acting. I always felt like my mom was letting him get away with it, almost like she was deliberately leading things somewhere. Sure enough, it didn't take long for something to go wrong. 5 months after my brother left, I got up to go to the bathroom and heard some rustling in the yard. I peeked out and saw my sister-in-law and her mom holding shovels, their greedy eyes fixed on the big rooster in the yard. Xiu. I heard this kind of black rooster is really rare. It is super nourishing. You're the big hero who gave them a son. There is no way they'd fall out with you over a stupid chicken. Hearing her mom's words, my sister-in-law nodded and reached out to grab our rooster. But even though my sister-in-law was pregnant, the rooster was agile and strong. Not only did it fly away, but it also scratched my sister-in-law's skin. Damn animal. My sister-in-law's mom got furious and raised her shovel to smash it. I quickly called out to stop them. Sister-in-law, auntie, don't, you know. In our village, we don't eat chicken. If you really want some, I'll go buy you pork belly at the market tomorrow, okay? I didn't expect that just by saying that. My sister-in-law got even angrier. Who do you think you are to tell me what to do? Do you have any sense of hierarchy? I'm giving birth for your family, and you won't even let me eat a lousy chicken. I'm eating it today, damn it. With that, my sister-in-law grabbed the shovel from her mom and swung it at our rooster. No matter how agile the rooster was, it couldn't escape that chase. One hit, and it was already dizzy, but my sister-in-law seemed possessed, slamming the shovel down on the black rooster again and again, until its head was smashed to a pulp, eyes and brains spilling out before she stopped. I'd never seen anything so brutal. The rooster's screams mixed with the sound of bones breaking. Feathers were flying everywhere. My sister-in-law's face was covered in blood and foam. She shot me a contemptuous grin. The next second, her expression changed. She actually used her finger to slowly lift a strand of the rooster's mushy tissue after it was smashed, and wrapped it with the blood and foam, swallowing it down with her tongue. I was so scared by what I saw that my legs went weak. My stomach churned violently. My sister-in-law's mom was freaked out too. She screamed and reached out to stop her. I couldn't bear to watch anymore. I staggered back inside the house. But in the hallway, I saw a very familiar dark figure. My mom was standing with her back to the light. Her body was pitch black, but her eyes glowed with a strange light. Turns out she had been watching everything my sister-in-law did. But not only did she not stop it, she wasn't even mad. She even had a slight smile on her lips. A weird angle. Xiao Mei, the chicken foot god has chosen her. He is about to descend. Our whole village will be blessed. She reached out her bony hand and stroked my trembling cheek and chin. Don't be scared. You should be happy. And also, Xiao Mei, my mom's grip got tighter. She was practically clamping down on my chin. If you go around blabbing and ruin things for the villagers, I'll chop you into mincemeat. That night, I couldn't sleep a wink. I had a feeling something bad was coming. The chicken foot god my mom mentioned is a highly revered deity in our village. It is also why chicken is taboo to eat around here. They say the chicken foot god is a slender figure, with a chicken head and chicken feet, a real god. He's been the ancestor of our village's faith for generations, but for some reason, every time I think of the chicken foot god, a heavy feeling rises in my chest. I kept telling myself, I'm probably just overthinking it. But the very next morning, my bad feeling came true. My brother's body was brought back by a coworker. I heard he died on his way back, drowned in the river. When he died, he was still holding the books he was going to give me. My sister-in-law wailed loudly, but my mom didn't shed a single tear. Like she already knew. I was the one hit hardest, staring at those almost ruined books. It hurts, and I'm so angry. You must be May, right? Your brother told me about you. The person who came was a coworker who brought my brother back. Seeing me sitting alone, he came over to comfort me. You can call me Awen. I know it is not the best timing to say this, but your brother and I were really good friends. You're his most important sister. There are some things I still want to tell you. Hearing him say that, I couldn't help but feel nervous. The air got heavy too. What are you trying to say? Owen frowned hard, his face serious. He took a long drag on his cigarette, then blew it out. Your brother didn't die in some ordinary accident. It was a curse. Owen introduced himself to me. He was from the next village over. His mom was the only village witch, so he knew a little about the supernatural. Your brother was found head down, feet up, drowned in the river. Normally, only someone tangled up with a river curse would die like that. That hit me hard. I thought about everything my mom had done before, but kept my mouth shut and didn't say a word. Owen just kept talking to himself. Your village worships the chicken foot god. I'm guessing you didn't know that. The chicken foot god is an evil spirit. It is a vengeful ghost. It comes back to the world of the living 7 days after someone dies. There is a return of the spirit. People call it the first 7 days. On that day, not only does the dead person's soul come back, but the evil spirit follows along too. That evil spirit is the chicken foot god. The chicken foot god is the evil spirit that rides back with the dead soul. So what does that have to do with my brother's death? Your brother's soul is like a shadow. On the 7th day after his death, the chicken foot god will descend into the world with your brother's soul. This is a dark ritual. Normal people wouldn't believe in it, Owen said. Besides a shadow like your brother's, it also needs a vessel and a sacrifice to hold the chicken foot god. Your family was personally chosen as servants by the chicken foot god. The shadow, the vessel, and the sacrifice will all come from your household. That is the main reason your family gets so much respect from the whole village. But I heard before, for some reason, the chicken foot god hasn't shown up in 10 years. I sorted through Owen's words in my head. According to his logic, my brother's 7th day will bring the evil spirit, and my family will also be chosen for the chicken foot god's vessel and sacrifice. That means someone else in my family will die soon. Don't talk nonsense. I was talking tough. But as I recalled everything, my heart was already wavering. Awen seemed to have seen it coming. People chosen by the chicken foot god start seeing hallucinations first. Then their negative feelings get blown way out of proportion. Run for it. How do you know you're not the vessel or the sacrifice? I rushed home in a panic. But my sister-in-law, her daughter and my mom were actually getting along for once. Turns out my mom promised my sister-in-law that if she stays to watch over my brother through the first 7 days, she'd give her all the money we have. First 7 days. According to Owen, that is when my brother comes back with the demon, right? I went to my sister-in-law in private, hoping she'd leave soon. It wasn't because I cared about her. It was because I cared about my brother's bloodline. But she just looked at me with a smirk. She said, I'm taking your money. You remember this. It was always mine. After my sister-in-law left, I felt a cold stare on my back. I shivered, turning around. My mom was glaring right at me, like she wanted to tear me apart. She curled her lips. He can't escape. Even if he leaves my house, he can't leave this village. Because I messed up. My mom beat me half to death with a gold bar. I stayed in bed for a few days. Until the day of my brother's first 7 days. Through the window, I saw our yard packed with villagers. They looked different from usual. They had bird feathers stuck in their hair, and their faces were painted like chickens with grease paint. They all had the same expression. A weird fanaticism mixed with piety. The door opened. It was my sister-in-law coming in. She had a big belly, and she was dressed different from everyone else. She walked up to me with a rare smile. Little girl, I know you hate me, but after today, your family's land and house will all be mine. Then, I'll marry you off to our girl in the village right away. Someone as ugly as you. Only our girl would take you. Guess no one's gonna want me. I've been ugly since I was a kid. Not delicate like other girls. But I didn't deserve to be humiliated like that. Ignoring the pain in my body, I shot up. I bit my sister-in-law's arm hard. She winced in pain. When she came to, she tried to hit me. But the moment her eyes landed on my body, exposed when the blanket slipped off, her pupils shrank. She couldn't believe her eyes. You. Right then, my mom suddenly showed up behind her. She covered her mouth with a cloth soaked in knockout drops. The ceremony was about to start. The important thing got away. Can't have that. When my sister-in-law woke up, she was tied up in the middle of everyone. She made gurgling noises in her throat. Her body kept twitching. She struggled to get away. She finally managed to get the cloth off her mouth. She begged the villagers dressed as chickens. Brother Lai, Uncle Zhang, what are you doing? Untie me. Seeing no one moved, tears streamed down her face. She screamed for her mother-in-law. But it was already too late. Earlier some villagers had already sharpened knives. They headed toward my sister-in-law's mother-in-law's room. My mom coughed twice. She appeared in front of everyone. She knocked my sister-in-law out again. She had all the villagers sit down in order. My mom chanted some hard-to-understand incantations. The villagers around my sister-in-law seemed to feel the spell's call. They all raised their hands and swayed their bodies like seaweed. I was terrified by what I saw. My body was already injured. I just passed out right then. But in the middle of that night, I woke up to a weird noise in the yard. Unlike other days, our front door was wide open today. Everyone had already left. Only my sister-in-law was still tied up alone in the middle of the yard. A cold wind blew in. She woke up too. She had no idea what was going on. Her eyes were full of fear. Around my sister-in-law was all gray ash. I knew what that was. It's called plant ash. Suddenly, my sister-in-law's eyes turned terrified. Her body struggled violently. Her eyes locked straight onto the front door. She let out a painful whimper. It seemed like she saw something I couldn't. At first, I was confused, but then, I covered my mouth tightly, just barely stopping myself from screaming. I saw it with my own eyes, right there on the wood ashes in the yard. Footprints appeared clear as day. The ones in front looked like human footprints. But right behind them were rows of rooster footprints. And they were slowly getting closer to my terrified sister-in-law. The chicken foot god. It is the chicken foot god. Is that thing actually real? On my brother's spirit night, he really came with the chicken foot god. I thought back to all the times my brother took care of me. Maybe because I wasn't good looking. No one liked me when I was little. Not even my mom. She kept her distance. Only my brother was good to me. He really treated me like his own little sister. Now, my brother is dead. And what is in my sister-in-law's belly? That is my brother's only child. In that instant, my mind went blank. I barely even thought. I just grabbed something and threw it out into the yard. The clattering noise broke the silent terror. My sister-in-law looked at me, her eyes full of tears, like she saw a savior. At almost the same moment, the rooster footprints on the ground stopped. Just a moment later, they started coming toward me. I tried to walk at a steady pace, but it was because of that commotion. The chicken foot god changed its position and started seeing me as its prey. Now, my mind was just blank. I stared hard at the footprints outside the window, but my hand pulled out a knife, hidden under the pillow. This knife was given to me by Tian Awen. He said it was a butcher's knife, full of killing intent. For an evil god, it is like fighting poison with poison. My chest was heaving hard. A thought of going down fighting suddenly popped into my head. The worst that could happen is I die. But right at that moment, a sharp pain shot through my hand, like the knife burned me. When I looked up again, the chicken footprints on the ground had stopped. My whole tense body went limp in an instant, chest still heaving hard. But I didn't expect. The scary stuff was far from over. Tap tap tap. A clear sound came from the room above me. Salt started falling from the ceiling of the smoky woodshed. My whole neck froze up. I wanted to look up but didn't dare. Like an animal's natural fear of what is above, every hair on my body stood on end. The tap-tap sound got closer and closer to me. It was almost right above me. My body moved on its own. I slowly lifted my head. But the courage to fight to the death shattered the second I saw the ceiling. There was a pair of yellow bird-like eyes, surrounded by dense black pores. Weird feathers, all bunched up forward. A chicken head with no body kept stretching out. Its eyeballs rolled, jumped onto my face, crawled into my mouth, and let out a shrill laugh like a human. In the end, I couldn't save my sister-in-law. I couldn't even hold on to the last thing my brother left behind. When I woke up again, I heard the news that my sister-in-law had an early labor. Even though I didn't know much about things, I knew it crystal clear. The baby in her belly was only 6 months along. How could it be a smooth birth? But everyone in the village was happy. They said the baby she gave birth to was the perfect vessel for the chickenfoot god. Soon, our village would be blessed with good fortune. I felt kind of numb, even though I didn't go to school. Every time my brother came back, he brought me books from town. In those books, I learned about these gods and stuff. That is all superstition. If it is just a belief, that is fine. But once it hurts someone, it is never the right path. I heard my sister-in-law was placed in the ancestral hall. I picked one night, waited until the old caretaker fell asleep, and sneaked into the hall. Just now, I got in touch with Owen. After telling him everything that happened in the village, he agreed to help. He'd park the car outside the hall. Then he'd take me and my sister-in-law and leave. If the baby is still alive by some miracle, I'll take the baby. If not, I'll take my barely alive sister-in-law, blood relation or not. No one else should die because of this trash. I tiptoed to the deepest part of the hall, but stopped dead when I saw what was in front of me. My sister-in-law was wearing thin clothes, her expression blank, tied to a wooden chair. Her belly was already flat. Right behind her, on the altar, was a tray covered in red cloth. Under it sat something shaped like a chicken, but not quite. My heart, my lungs were squeezed by invisible hands. Even breathing became hard. With shaking hands, I yanked off the red cloth. And there I saw something I'd never forget. That image hit me so hard. It triggered memories from way back. If someone wants to call that peeled flesh, I won't argue, because besides a patch of red, there was nothing human about it. Around that piece of flesh, countless feathers had grown. The reason I even thought that is probably because I still hoped for the last bit of good in people's hearts. Those feathers were clearly jammed into the flesh with brutal force. So much so that the surface was soaked in blood and covered in holes. Strictly speaking, that flesh didn't even look like a chicken. It was more like some messed up monster stitched together by humans. That is how people in our village make the vessel for the chickenfoot god. Crazy. Everyone's gone crazy. They thought if my sister-in-law ate the treasure turtle chicken, she'd give birth to a chicken. I was swallowed by a huge fear. But I had no time to think about my body shaking. It was hopeless there. I had to take my sister-in-law and run. I helped my barely conscious sister-in-law. And sure enough, I saw Owen waiting outside the village with the car. Xiaomei, get in the car. The car drove a short way through the village path. It stopped pretty quickly. Looking at the sea of chicken heads outside the window, I remembered what my mom said. There is no escaping. Even if you leave our house, you can't get out of the village. Under the headlights, those villagers with chicken feathers stuck to them, turned into chicken heads, looked even creepier. They were a huge crowd, all different heights, forming a human wall with their bodies, blocking our only way out. Crazy. Yeah, they're all completely crazy. Uncle Zhang, Uncle Lai, you've watched me grow up. Just listen to me for once. Whether it is an evil god or superstition, What you're doing is absolutely wrong. Stop being stubborn, okay? But my desperate shouting didn't seem to have any effect on these people at all. They swarmed like a bunch of demons, pressing in on the car. What do we do? I could see Owen was losing his cool, sweat beading on his forehead. Just ram them. I clenched my teeth, my face not looking much better than Owen's. Right as I remembered my brother's smile, a look of firm determination came over my face. Just floor it. Aren't you pretending to be crazy and acting like miracle doctors? Anyone who is not afraid to die, let my gas car run you over. Let's see if your faith is stronger, or our car tires are tougher. Owen frowned hard, looking like this was his first time doing something so crazy too. All right, Annie, you're even braver than your brother. Okay, then, I'm gonna go crazy today. As he said that, Owen floored it and charged into the crowd. And then those people finally started panicking. They scattered like birds and beasts. Chicken feathers stuck to them, flying everywhere. But soon, they got it together and started throwing primitive weapons at the car, even smashing one of the windows. In an instant, we were in the middle of a tough fight again. Luckily, someone shouted out. Suddenly, the ancestral hall was blazing with fire. The villagers panicked instantly. They hurried straight to the ancestral hall. Owen's expression changed. There was a hint of admiration in his look at me. Did you do this too? Seeing me nod, his eyes lit up. What a tough woman. Owen never mentioned that, but then he stopped mid-sentence. His eyes shifted. In his story, you are always the gentle and weak little sister. Back in the hall, just now, I saw more than one lump of meat covered in feathers. After the red cloth was lifted, something even more horrifying happened. I noticed that deeper beyond the most obvious red cloth, there were countless more red cloths. I suddenly understood what the red cloth meant. Not good luck. Not celebration. Not happiness. It was blood red. You couldn't tell on Yan's red cloth, covering up the truth. It is like doing all kinds of disgusting things. Under the guise of prayer, I kept repeating to myself, they were all crazy. They all lost their minds. How else could they do such sick stuff? Listening to my story, Owen, bouncing along the mountain road, became strangely calm. But fine beads of sweat formed around his eyes. I could see his hands gripping the steering wheel. Owen's hands seemed to be trembling slightly. Is there something you want to say? Owen's voice was a little hoarse. And mixed in with that was some fear. Since you said the environment was so terrifying, how did you and your brother grow up safe and sound? What do you mean by safe and sound? For example, if I grew up in a pigsty, then in my mind, would being a pig not be that painful? Because I've never opened my eyes and seen the outside world. I was born because my mom needed me for a sacrifice ritual. Right when I was born, I was already destined to be the vessel for the chicken-foot god to descend on the village. At that time, I was half-grown, not quite right as a medicine primer, a vessel or a sacrifice. One night, he carried a tray of feathers and walked up to me as a baby with a cold face. That night, the crying in my house was so loud that none of the neighbors could sleep. But not a single one was willing to help. In their minds, this was the absolutely right thing to do. As he said this, Owen slowly pulled off his shirt. Those scars were bleeding. After they scab over and heal, they still look incredibly ugly. They were bumpy and attached to the surface of my body, climbing all the way up my torso to my neck. Ugly and disgusting. My mom was very strict, and there were very few kids in the village. I almost never had any playmates my age. So in my heart, I always thought that girl skin probably looked like this. On the day my brother kissed me, this is what my sister-in-law saw. In that instant, I saw terror in my sister-in-law's eyes, disbelief and pity as a fellow woman. But I wasn't surprised by her look. I had already found out on my sister-in-law's first night at our house, when I secretly peeked at her taking a bath, that things were different. So women could be beautiful, pretty, pure white, and smooth, not like me. Halfway through his story, the car driving on the mountain road came to a stop. Owen slammed on the brakes, startling his sister-in-law behind him. He was already out of it. And now he pointed at a tile in front of the car and yelled, "Here he comes, here he comes." I shouldn't have run. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He is coming for me. He is coming for me. Watching my sister-in-law acting all weird, Owen and I were totally freaked out. It looked like she saw something in the tiles. But all we saw was just the tiles with almost zero visibility. No, right then, Owen frowned and yelled. My heart instantly jumped into my throat. I squinted and looked into the thick fog. When I spotted the figure in the mist, I froze. It was a dark shadow, as tall as a person, but its joints and neck kept bobbing in and out like a chicken. Its body was hunched over in a super creepy way, combined with my sister-in-law acting so off. Something clicked in my head. No way. Isn't that just superstition? It can't be real. I kept muttering to myself. But then, I heard my sister-in-law laughing behind me. Her voice was sharp and thin. He is here. He is here. The figure coming out of the fog I recognized it when he pulled off the dead rooster-like decoration from his head. A familiar yet terrifying old face appeared in front of me. It was my mom. I let out a silent sigh of relief. So it seemed my sister-in-law went crazy. Because she was freaked out by the village's weird costumes and brutal, bloody ways. Xiaomei, you can leave. I'll act like I never gave birth to a bastard like you, but the woman behind you, she has been chosen by the chicken foot god. She can't leave. I told your brother before, don't let you read all those messed up books from outside. Look at you. What huge mistake have you made today? You don't have the right to talk about my brother. I felt like I'd been hit in my weak spot. And I roared, my eyes bright red. My brother's only mistake was being born to a crazy woman like you. Do you even deserve my brother? He was your own son. We never saw it coming. The second I threw that accusation out, my mom just laughed softly. You think your brother was a good guy? He still came out of my womb. Who the hell does he think he is? I know him too well. My brows furrowed tight, sweat seeping through my palms. What do you mean? My brother is dead. And you still have to trash him. But then what my mom said next completely blew my mind. Awan, not just your brother, but you yourself. Do you really think you're any better? I picked out the sister-in-law myself and brought her home. From the start, she was meant to be a sacrifice to the chicken foot god. And the baby in her belly the vessel for the chicken foot god. No way. Seeing my shocked face, my mom let out a cold laugh. You think your brother wasn't that kind of person, right? Just ask that woman. Whether the kid in her belly even has anything to do with your brother. Turns out, the sister-in-law got pregnant after a ghost marriage. When she found out she was pregnant, she didn't even know who the father was. Right when she was panicking like crazy, my brother showed up and said he'd take all the heat from her family. And he brought her home to rest and carry the pregnancy. It was my brother's nice guy act and the sister-in-law's greedy mindset that together caused this tragedy for her and the kid. I turned to look at the sister-in-law in the back seat. She couldn't get up. Just looked like she had a splitting headache. You guys already drove her crazy. What good could she say? Anyway, my brother's dead. He can't even defend himself anymore. What he said was wrong. The moment Awen's voice came out, I froze for a second. What? Your brother did this to save you? Hardly any kid can survive being turned into a vessel. So most babies die after the summoning ritual. But I lived. I'm guessing, if they hadn't brought back a new vessel, this year they'd use you as the vessel again. Because the chicken foot god hasn't shown up in over a decade. You can tell from all those dead babies. My mom cackled twice. Smart sister-in-law. The village hasn't had a god summoning in over 10 years. But this year, that rooster's been extra excited, all bright and shiny. I can feel my god is coming soon. He'll spread blessings back over the earth. Crazy. Looking at my mom like that, I just felt sick. My stomach was churning. You're never gonna make it. Because that chicken foot god is just superstition. Next, my mom said something that really threw me off. That woman's baby in her belly really did fail again. But now I realize, the ones before might not have been failures. I don't know why. But hearing that, a sudden surge of anger welled up inside me. Wen hit her. He has already lost it. Wen looked at me. And I could see disbelief in his eyes again. But this time, he hesitated for a few seconds. He didn't floor the gas pedal right away. It is okay. He'll definitely dodge it, right? Just like those villagers. My words sounded like some kind of hypnosis to Wen. He gritted his teeth later, stepped on the gas, and rushed straight toward my mom. But this time, something totally unexpected happened. My mom didn't dodge at all. She actually came right at us. In an instant, it was a flash of lightning. Screams mixed with the sound of shattering. But weirdly enough, the last time I saw my mom, I clearly saw her smiling at me. Wen and I made it to town smoothly. We found my sister-in-law's family. I asked Wen what happened next. That was his plan. But he was hesitant, couldn't even look me in the eye. He just handed me a stack of cash. Your brother and I were good friends. He always looked out for me too. But this is the last time I'm helping you. Take this money, go to the city. Go where there are lots of people and start over. And never come back. Watching Wen walk away, I was confused. And on top of that confusion, a bit of hatred started to grow. Like a seed. It took root and sprouted in no time. He still looked down on me, didn't he? He was ashamed of me, wasn't he? Damn it. Damn bastard. Lying to me like that. I muttered to myself. My fists were clenched without me even noticing. Somewhere I couldn't see. My eyes suddenly turned a yellowish brown. I cracked a smile. Slowly, I started walking in the direction Wen had gone. Extra story. 3 years later, I found out the address of the mental hospital where my sister-in-law was staying. I heard she'd gotten a lot better recently. Her thoughts were as normal as anyone else's. I was doing pretty well in the city, but I still thought about the past sometimes. Sure enough, she could communicate normally now, without any issues. We cleared up a lot of misunderstandings, and she thanked me for saving her life. But the moment I mentioned the chicken foot god, the atmosphere froze again. Shu Xiu, I've talked to some people about this. When you're under too much stress, you can start seeing things. I think on the 7th day after my brother's death, the weird stuff we saw was just hallucinations. Our whole family really owes you an apology. All that superstition caused all this trouble. I never expected that when she heard this, her expression would change completely. Everyone says I'm crazy. But I'm not. I saw it. I really saw it. Halfway through her sentence, she suddenly lifted her head, staring straight into my eyes. Then she let out a hysterical scream. The hospital staff rushed in. I grabbed him right away, but he just stared at me, sobbing and wailing. Why won't you just leave me alone? I was totally confused by my sister-in-law. I decided to go check on Alan again. Following the address, I couldn't find it. So I asked a local grandma for help. This place burned down 3 years ago. All 128 people in the village died. Little girl. They say it is haunted. It is really unlucky. I suggest you stop looking. The grandma seemed to have bad eyesight. She kept rubbing her eyes. When her eyes finally cleared, she looked up at me, but her eyes went wide, filled with terror. Grandma, what is wrong? The grandma just shook her head. As she watched me leave, her face was full of fear. She started kowtowing toward my back. The end.